Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I'm Lucas and welcome to another F1 24 League Racing video on the channel. And today we've got PSGL Season 37 Round 3 around Japan at the Suzuka circuit. Usually one of my favourite tracks over the years, but yeah, this year it's actually probably very different to years gone by, and the fact that it's a very bumpy track to drive. But nevertheless, here we are, started our first run of Q1, seeing that we're actually not even taking the racing line or the traditional line down the main straight because we're trying to avoid bumps. And you're probably thinking, Lucas, mate, there's absolutely no bumps, you know, visually, what are you on about? You can literally lose, and I wish I was kidding, you know, half a tenth on that main straight and then another half a tenth on the back straight on the way back down through, you know, through to 130R. You know, it's pretty bad with the bumps, so we're all, you know, we're all trying to manage it. And yeah, heading through Degner 1 now for the first time, throwing it into Degner 2. Very easy to overshoot through there into the hairpin. And yeah, just you've got to try and get yourself hooked into the inside. We don't quite manage to execute it that well. But yeah, no major mistakes so far in this lap, but maybe nothing, not really generating as much time as we would like at this current point. Heading through Spoon, a big snap. These curbs are lethal. In the respect that, you know, you can touch them a tiny bit and it can completely, you know, spin your car all the way. Well, it can completely over-rotate your car, put it simply. And yeah, again down this back straight, hoping that you don't get slowed down by bumps. Onto the brakes now for the final chicane. You can cut massively on the inside, but you do get grass if you do that, which reduces your grip for that final left-hander. So it's a balancing act, but as you can see, first lap on the board and we are miles off. And yeah, pretty similar to Silverstone last time out. We had no qualifying pace. In fact, if anything, it was probably even worse, because the car was borderline undrivable. And yeah, I guess we were hoping it would have pace, but yeah, it didn't have pace, and it was very, very hard to drive, to the point where I thought I was going to crash every single time I went for a lap. But anyway, here we are, heading through sector 1. Very easy to lose the rear. The car sort of floating around on that rear end, heading through this part, and the car nearly spits itself off to the right hand side. Now we're half a tenth down. Now this isn't great because we're P11, and as much as I don't like saying it, you know, at somewhat risk to being fired out of Q1 here, and us losing, you know, I don't actually know the exact value there and through that first sector, but you know, nearly crashing before Dunlop because we get spat off. Just showing you how sensitive it is. Yeah, that's put us in a bad spot, so we've really got to try and hook together the rest of this lap. Into Spoon now, not having that oversteer moment like we did the lap before, trying to take a tidier line, but not getting a good exit from it, and now we're at the mercy of the bumps coming down this back straight. And now look at that! We lose 100 for doing nothing. It's just so easy to lose it, but now we gain 100th back as we go through the split. We're sort of equal on our delta. Heading onto the brakes now, final chicane, trying to somehow not get the bump. We have a terrible exit again, and we're barely up coming out of this final section, and we, by the skin of our teeth, get through into Q2, which is far from where we want to be, where we should be. It's just, yeah, very frustrating when you don't feel like you've got the tools to even be competitive, but you know, these things happen, you don't always get it right. We saw in Bahrain that we did get it right, so, you know, it's just maybe trying to strike a better balance going into these qualifying sessions. As yeah, we had pretty solid pace for the opener. Silverstone we didn't have good pace, but then in the rain we were really quick, so yeah, it's been a very mixed-matched couple of rounds, but you know, that's kind of why we do these rounds, is to try things and learn things. And we are certainly learning. But yeah, here we are now on our first run of Q2, just navigating our way through the hairpin, and just yeah, trying to hopefully put a lap on the board to get ourselves sort of settled into this qualifying session. But heading through Spoon, we invalidate, which is not the best from myself, but equally very hard to judge, as sometimes over that curb you get spat off, sometimes you over rotate. It was yeah, not my finest moment. but nevertheless, we're going to get the Delta for our next run, sending it through the chicane, not getting the grass, but actually, which is complete luck because we cut it just as much in times before and have gotten grass. So it just goes to show that even on a track that is on paper as good as Suzuka, because you know it's been a great track over the years in my opinion, even on the F1 game. You know, this year it's got variables that shouldn't be in play whatsoever. But anyway, enough waffling from me. Yeah, heading through Sector 1 now on a lap that we really need to get in now. We do not have a reference lap, but again, nearly literally just spiralling out of qualifying by having these micro saves, these micro corrections, and yeah, literally for the second time in a row, half a tenth down coming out of Sector 1 on our final run. So we know now we need to commit hard. We are sending so much speed into Degna 2. Gaining a couple of hundreds back in our favour into the hairpin now. We chuck it in much earlier, carrying momentum, use the camber on the inside to our advantage, and we do gain marginally on our Delta. And yeah, heading into Spoon, we know we need to commit hard, but we cannot invalidate. Sending it in, using a little bit of curb, carrying in the momentum, just not able to get the car back into the apex, but we do get, crucially, a considerably better exit, and we are 700-800s up now as we head towards the split. It's a 2-2 split, and we need to round out this lap nicely. We must get a good chicane. Onto the brakes now, heading into the chicane, not quite getting as much of a cut on the right-hander, not getting the best of exits, but we saved the distance to the line, and it is provisionally P5. I didn't think this was good enough to go through. I mean, it was just lacking in all areas, but in the end it actually was enough to go through, thankfully. But at least we're on to Q3, and it will give us one shot right at the end of that session on a new set of tyres to give it a go. So yeah, here we are now for that one and only run. The previous run was on a dead set of tyres, so this is our only shot in qualifying. We're going to throw it at the wall and see what sticks. Heading through turn 1, getting a relatively okay amount of rotation, heading through this section, getting the rotation nicely, nice, good speed carry through there, but unfortunately going through this left-hander, we wander too wide, and what didn't happen in Q1 and 2 through Sector 1 eventually happened at probably the worst one of the worst moments for us, right at the end of Q3. We breeze near the white line, we wash out wide with the car running a little bit loose on the rear. I think we were pushed wide by the inside curb as well, and yeah, we just ended up round. So, a terrible qualifying, not one that I'm happy with whatsoever, but we can't think about that now. We have a race ahead of us. We're going for the alternate strategy, we're on the hards, it's lights out, and we are away with, once again, millions of wheel spin. Because these hards were super icy at the beginning of this race. We can see we're trying to use the space around the outside, and we had that momentum, but we didn't have the grip. We had the space that we could, you know, try and hang on with, but yeah, you know, just trying to hang around the outside multiple times. Now we're just getting gobbled up by everyone on the mediums. We have Alvaro behind us on the same strategy, so we're dropping down 2 places already in this race. Just trying to fight for grip at this point. And yeah, heading through Degna 1 and 2 for the first of 27 times. Yeah, not the best, but you know, when you have medium runners around you, it's only natural for this to happen. We go defensive on the inside, but we just completely lock the rears, and for a moment you'd think you're watching Colin McRae drive. It was icy in these opening few laps. It was pretty tough to manage the sort of opening part of the race on the hards, as the medium runners were really pushing on. But as you can see already ahead of us, lots of fighting going on. I believe we have a couple of R8G drivers. We have Josh and Ido ahead of us as well. And they were all getting very feisty with each other for lap 1. It was actually very surprising to see people going this hard in the race right at the beginning, because it did create a massive risk of the train splitting in half and us getting disconnected, which on our strategy would be an absolute disaster. And look at this ahead of us, it's absolute chaos. Some of them are out of energy to completely, so we're going to take the opportunity and go all the way up the inside of absolutely everybody, trying to hold it on the inside. But you know, you've got to remember, we're on hard, so the guys on the mediums hold it round our outside. and we are back down to what was, you know, it was for a moment looking like P10, P9, back down to P11. We are fighting for grip. Julian Klaffenbach tries to go around our outside, which was not happening. We close that door, but you know, he's all over us like a rash. And yeah, we are just trying to hang on at this early phase in this race. The medium runners were so much more punchy in this initial phase. We do a defence to the inside, but the RHG driver on our outside just, I mean, need I say anything, absolutely out-tractions us on the exit, and yeah, just sailed back past and managed to get himself another position after that. So yeah, we did not have the facilities to compete with these guys in these early laps, but here we are now making a move on Tamascal, who had ran out of battery. And yeah, this was sort of, we'd survived the worst of it. You know, the hards were only going to get better from here on out.
Nice.
And yeah, as we go on to lap 6 now, yeah, back in the train, everybody's starting to join back together, compress together, as we have people pitting more and more after every lap. And yeah, here we are on lap 8 now. The medium runners beginning to drop off now, so we know this is our chance, and we really want to make sure that we are as far forward in this train with other drivers on the same strategy as us. So we're going to go round the outside of 130R on Julian Klaffenbach, and then up the inside on Ruben Pedreño, 2 for the price of 1. We're side by side still through the final chicane, hanging it all hanging it all around the outside of the last corner, ducking out of the slipstream, trying to stop the slipstream for the cars behind a little bit for a moment. And yeah, up to P8, crucially behind Jarno and Brendan ahead of us, who are on the exact same strategy as us. And I believe this puts us P4 on our strategy, as we had Jarno and Brendan on the hards, and also Thomas, who was a little bit further up in this train. But the key you've got to remember is that we will be running as a pack of 4 once all of these medium runners that you see boxing now make their stops. So ultimately, we are filtering our way forward. We have the final runner of medium runner
90
ahead of us making their stop, and that is us now into P4 and 4th on our strategy.
I'm happy to box this lap, we have a gap.
And you can hear me, and as you've probably noticed, my microphone was turned off on this live stream as I had a static issue with it, which might happen in this recording. I'm not sure. I hope it doesn't happen. But yeah, we are going to be making a pretty aggressive call to box this lap and play for track position, as we know we're going to have a lot of overtakes to make, and we know we're going to have worse tyres than the cars ahead of us when they box. But you know, we knew we weren't on raw pace, you know, as quick as we would normally be, so we were going to try something different and try and make the race come to us, try and take control of what we can, and yeah, fight our way into a position that we really have no business being in, if we're looking at it from a pure car performance point of view. So we're going to try and see what magic we can make happen in this stint. Heading out the box now, and yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars ahead of us to get our way past, and yeah, we're going to be wasting no time. The mediums immediately out of the box felt marvellous compared to those hards, and already on cold mediums, may I add, catching back up to the hard runners who had been on these tyres for already a few laps now, aside from Klaffenbach, who actually boxed later than most. But yeah, we're not going to be wasting any time. We need to get forward and try and play track position to our best advantage. So we're going to go for a late dive up the inside. Julian leaves us the space, with all due respect, and yeah, very fair and clean racing there up the inside, and that is us up 1 of 7 places that we need to gain. Ruben Pedreño next, next overtake, and yeah, just getting the temperature more and more, and yeah, crucially, nobody ahead of us on those on this same strategy as us boxed. So this means that the other drivers that were around us on the strategy that we on the hard medium strategy will have at minimum a 2-lap tyre advantage, which is significant. So yeah, we were really relying on trying to, you know, play track position and try and just play with the cars that we have at the front of the train, and yeah, try and maybe make a bit of a net gain instead of being maybe 100% optimal on our pit lap. But nonetheless, here we are on lap 16 with Josh Edo now. Next up, we're going to go round the outside of the hairpin. We just have so much more grip at this point, so it's really not much of a contest for the hard runners. You know, these mediums, you saw at the start of the race how effective they were. This is me with a tyre advantage as well, if you look at it from a tyre age perspective. So yeah, doing one of our favourite moves in this race, the slingshot through 130R onto the brakes. The hard runners, Esteban there, not putting up much of a fight. And yeah, we are now 4 overtakes in to the 7 that we need to get to the front of this train. And yeah, lap 16 now, I believe. I'm not sure if anyone pitted there, I can't really remember. But yeah, we're now having people starting to make pit stops. We go for a really late lunge on Tam Manley. We have contact at the apex, which was yeah, not ideal, but we're going to play this one back in slow motion, as I imagine this will be probably one of the more aggressive moves we have in the race. We do manage to get ourselves up the inside and alongside for the apex, and at the point of contact, I mean, I'm at the apex, I've not ran in with overspeed, and yeah, Tom Manley just sort of continued to close the door over, so there was not really much more I could do from a space perspective. I was up the inside, I was, you know, I'd got the car slowed down, and yeah, unfortunately we made contact, but I couldn't really control how much space was going to be left. So yeah, that's obviously not the way you want to make an overtake, but you know, what can I do when there's yeah, I can't really create more space on the inside. I was at the curb, but no matter, here we are, making our way up the train now, ahead of Joris. And actually I was actually being pushed into this braking zone as Pookie and Joris were going for it into that last chicane, but crucially for us now, we are, yeah, at the head of the train now. We're going to get past Freddie Rasmussen. Thomas Ronner makes his stop considerably later than when we made our stop. So yeah, everybody that's on the hard medium strategy apart from us is going to be on considerably better tyres if they get to the front with us. So we are just going to have to play the cards of hoping that they have, you know, trouble getting through the pack. But yeah, as you can see already, lap 22, Brendan Lee, you know, already up to the back of this train. But some of you may have noticed in the mirror,
wing damage, Brendan.
Brendan actually got wing damage with a collision with Freddie, which was yeah, kind of fortunate for us in our race, and the fact that we weren't going to have a fresher medium runner attacking us so quickly. But now we have Freddie and Jarno, Freddie getting back past us, as yeah, they were going to probably attempt to do a double overtake on me that lap there. And yeah, also new for this year, Jarno and Freddie are teammates, so I am fighting 2 Red Bulls, unfortunately, which is, yeah, a losing battle when you're, you know, trying to hang on. And unfortunately, Jarno's tyres were 3 laps fresher, which is really just no competition. At that point, you know, you can just bully you around, push you around, and make me burn my energy, which I've had to do in this situation. And yeah, unfortunately, Freddie was, you know, the hard tyres were coming back to Freddie as well. So yeah, heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. Unfortunately, there's not really much I can do to hang on. Jarno is just going to use his battery, of which he has more of, and sail back past us. And yeah, it's now a Red Bull 1-2. So realistically, the chance of winning this race is pretty gone, but we are just going to focus on trying to stay in contention, try and stay close, and you know, try not to fall backwards, as our mediums were, yeah, definitely falling off a lot more than everyone around us, because yeah, we pitted quite a bit earlier. But you know, looking at it on paper, we have still made a very good net gain in this race. We were down at P12 after lap 1, and we're up in P3 after leading a lot of the race. So we know, on paper, this has been a very good net gain and a great execution, and yeah, playing good percentages in terms of, you know, getting the majority out of what we could get. Maybe not perfected as evident by Jarno's strategy, pitting 3 laps after us, but nonetheless still a good gain. That is if we can hold on to it, because Esteban Pookie going for a move onto us into the last chicane. We dive in deep, try and hold our line, you know, giving absolutely no quarter to Esteban. I was not going to give it to him easily. We take control of the corner. It was our corner. Yeah, we were very robust, but I think all in all we were yeah, pretty alright with things. So yeah, that was a pretty solid recovery.
Jano's,
P10 to P3, P12 after lap 1. So yeah, it was still a solid recovery, given that, you know, I don't think we had much performance. So yeah, very great execution, good strategy from Anton, my engineer, and the McLaren Shadow lads. Yeah, we made the best of it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment what you thought down below. Yeah, we've had plenty of overtakes this season so far in PSGL with Bahrain, Silverstone and Japan. Plenty of moves, plenty of plenty of memorable moments. So yeah, we gave it a go, had some fun, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. So take care everybody, I love yous all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See yous all, ciao ciao.